Hi baby, you being a good boy? Are you enjoying the weather outside? Laying on this cold, cool concrete? You're a good boy. I love you. Good boy. Welcome. Oops, that was your tail. I'm sorry. Welcome back to the channel, DIY Mechanics of the Internet. Today's video is, that's new. Okay, and that's kind of new. I don't remember them there when I bought that. Okay, and what is this? The paint's peeling. That's pretty deep and new. Oh, I don't remember that there when I bought the vehicle. This body line isn't sitting right either. Okay. Some tail signs. Anyway, welcome back to the channel, DIY Mechanics of the Internet. Today's video is going to be, the primary purpose is to do an oil change on my C-Max, but also do a vehicle inspection. I bought this used in December of 2025 with 136,000 miles, and here in March of 26, it's got about 140,000 miles. So I need to do an oil change. And while I'm doing an oil change, I'm gonna put it on the platform. I also wanna give it a once-over vehicle inspection to see what the condition of the vehicle is in. Because the customer states, I'm the customer, I have a grinding noise in the back right. I'm thinking the wheel bearing is shot. It's gonna need a new wheel bearing. And in the back left, when going over imperfections in the road, there's a lot of hard noise, like something's hitting the body. So I'm thinking the shock is blown at 140,000 miles as it sits. It probably does need a new suspension. So I want to get it up on the platform and get underneath to visually look at my suspension. When I bought it from the dealership, Carfax had said that they had done service to it, so I went to their service department and pulled what they'd done. It said they did an oil change, and it also said they did both front bearings, so I'll be looking for something shiny while I'm underneath there, or at least somehow. I also want to pull the intake manifold off and pull a spark plug to check the condition of the spark plugs. And since I'm pulling the intake manifold off anyway, might as well replace the air filter. So that's the task for today. So give it a once over underneath, and to change the oil and change the air filter. So with that out of the way, this body line isn't right. Yeah, okay, that's new. Well, Carfax said that this was involved in some minor damage up front, but airbags did not deploy. And I don't know what damage there was. It didn't say, but this body line right here isn't right. So I wonder if the hood is out of alignment or the bumper isn't sitting right. That's for another time. I'm gonna get the jack out. I'm gonna jack up the rear end of the vehicle, and I'm gonna check to see, like a shakedown, see if this shock is busted or not, and pull the tire off. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, rotate the tire, see if it's grindy, or listen to hear if it's grindy, and see if I need to order bearings. That might be a few videos down the road. Where's our lift point for this? I'm assuming the arrow on this trim panel piece probably indicates where we gotta go. Is there really a lift point here? I can't really tell. What the fudge? I can't tell if that's a lift point. But okay. I'm not sure how I feel about jacking up a 13-year-old car on a pinch weld that I can't see. But, okay. It's kind of holding. And our wheel is off the ground. There we go. Cover your ears. This might get loud. I probably did not need the big gun for this. I probably didn't need the big gun for that. Could have got the smaller one out. These lug nuts look pretty corroded, pretty crusty. Might have to buy some new ones in the future. The bigger question is, will this rim, I lost the nut, will this rim come off, or is it kind of corrosion welded to the hub? Well, it came off, so it's probably an indication these tires have been off at some point. All right, now that that's off, bring you down here closer to see these shocks have been replaced because that says KYB. Great. Okay, well, I'll bring you down here and we'll get a good look. So, because I have a new camera now, really not a way to get you in here because the camera is much bigger than a cell phone now. But what looks like we've got a KYB shock, and judging by this rust, it's been replaced at some point in its life. Looking at the bushing back here at the bottom, we'll see when we go underneath the car, but it looks like it's been replaced a couple years ago. And I don't like the way this bushing, this bolt sits inside this shock. I'll show you when we go underneath. The spring's not broke, that's a good thing. There's a bushing right here at the top of the knuckle. Right here. That bushing looks pretty bad. So I'm assuming this arm right here, my finger's at, it's probably original. So we're probably looking at a full suspension refresh back here. We got a new arm here, new arm back here, my hand's at, back in here. I don't know about the spring, maybe the control arm. This bushy underneath might be bad. As for the brakes, well, we got some spots right through here. I don't see that they're Motorcraft, but I'm assuming the brakes have been done. The pads look decent. I can't really see because you're right there. Maybe. My head's gonna be in the way though. There's still some decent pad thickness on the rear pad. And the front pad still looks pretty good. Ouch. But the rotor's got a lip going on right here at the edge. Brake wise, we're looking to be okay. But it does look like it's got some hot spots. You'll see right here, right where my thumb's at, right here's one. Right here's another one where my finger's at. And then right here's a few of them. So they don't look like Motorcraft pads. I don't think they are. They're pretty grimy looking like the rest of the rotor setup, so I don't think there was a pad swap done. Well, this muffler looks new. This car is 13 years old and this muffler is shiny and silver. That's interesting. we'll put this tire back on and we'll go to the other side and we'll I'll pull that tire off and check the bearing itself. Ooh, I wonder how this bearing is going to be to replace. And it looks like, at least looking behind the rotor, it appears we're going to have bolts that come out the back of the knuckle and go that way. That's what it's looking like. We'll have to get the rotor off and look at the bearing. That's another project. That's not today though. I was just going to put this tire back on and I flipped it on the inside to check it out, and yeah, we have a lot of dry rot happening on the sidewalls right here. This is I'm going to need new tires. And then I think the date code right here is 35th week of 2021. So these tires are 5 years old. I don't leave the city with this car. It's strictly local and it's a business car, so it doesn't get driven every day. I think these tires are going to last me through the summer, but I'm definitely going to have to shop a tire sale and get these replaced. And this inside of this rim looks like crap. There's a lot of corrosion. I wouldn't say corrosion, but whatever this yellowing tint is. Several instances of wheel weights that they've had on. We've got one set here that's pretty old. We've got one wheel weight here. We've got weights that were here, unless they were there and they're gone. We have a clipped weight right here out of frame. There's the clipped weight. Yeah. So we have to make a running list here. I need to get tires for this. Although the tread itself, right here's a wear bar. We're not really wearing down on the tread. The inside tread depth is making it look like it's got a brand new tire. So I bet these tires were bought and then never driven on, and the vehicle just sat. That's my assumption. You can see how deep this groove is. And I'm thinking it's going to be the same thing on this side. Find our little arrow, find our pinch weld. Right? I hope. Pinch weld, not my hand. Okay. Now I don't need to take the tire off for this one. I only need to rotate this tire to hear this bearing. Oh. But I also don't like the fact that I'm on a 13-year-old pinch weld, which is collapsing, which is to be expected. Okay, well, we're not working on this right now. We're merely there's no play. Will you get your big head out? Look, you're... Hi. I love you too. Do you have to sniff everything? Got some curb rash on this tire, or on this rim. Kinda hear something. Let me move you closer. I'll put you back here. Ow! I'm gonna put you back here. That's plastic. Let's mount you to the control arm back there. Hear kind of like a clicking sound a little bit, very faint. Like, it does sound like the bearing is kind of grindy. Yeah, I think I might have to get new bearings. And I'm going to assume the other tire was a not a Continental, what is this, a Cooper Discover? No, Cooper Endover. I'm gonna probably assume this tire is also the same age as the one on the other side. So we're gonna need at least 2 new tires. But with the customer complaints kind of looked at, let's get underneath and see what the undercarriage looks like. All right, now let's go under our car and see what we got. And what I'm seeing, we have a giant hole right there. That's mildly entertaining. We might need a new crash bar. Yep. We're gonna need a new crash bar. This looks rutted through. How does the other side look? The other side, yeah, that's well, that's nice. Well, it is a 13-year-old car. Muffler. We've got, right there's the battery box. Right here's the battery box, and right here is that bolt that I was pulling out. There's, I don't think that's from factory. Is it? I don't think that's factory. But okay. Let's keep moving back. On the driver's side, see how, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see, but there's a gap between the lower shock mount and this bolt. So I don't like how that sits. These KYB shocks have got to go then. Control arm looks okay. The bushings inside the sway bar link, they look like they could be replaced. They could probably get new bushings. Probably go a long way there. Let's check this hub over here. So there's a speed sensor right there, and to the top left of that speed sensor, it looks like an external Torx bit. So that's going to be fun to pull that hub out. That's going to be fun. Our fuel tank is right here. I just noticed there's no spare tire. Those might be the fuel lines. And the canister itself is probably this guy right there. Yeah. And up there is that braided hose with the silver clamp. That is going to be the filler neck for the tank. So we have to look at the tank. And that is right here. All that corrosion, that's going to be a pain to replace. But right there's the filler neck. Oh boy. Moving further back. What else we got? Center muffler. We have a lot of this felt that's right here. We have a lot of that. Our flex pipe looks okay. Although it looks like, what it looks like is somebody's been here. Because this is open. You can see right there. It should be looking like that. Somebody's been there. Interesting. I really wonder what's underneath this plastic or this felt covering that we got right here. That's what I'm really wondering. But the pinch weld looks okay. But this plastic cover is probably holding a lot of gunk up in there. You can probably see right here. Right here. It's holding gunk. What about the back side down through here? Yeah, there's more debris in there. I have to figure out how to pull this off. And whatever this is, well, whatever it is, it's not attached. Okay, well, yeah. And probably same on the other side. More debris. We'll have to pull that off at a later time. But the pinch weld looks okay. It's not rotted through. And then we get to our catalytic converter right there. Our transmission. Our drain bolts right there. Our subframe here. It's got some rust on it, but I don't see any rust holes with it. CV axle's fine. The boot's not cracked, not ripped. At least the inner one right here isn't. And we have our seal up in there with transmission. That looks okay. Okay. And then I'm looking over here, and I don't see a serpentine belt at all, which it is a hybrid, so I bet with it being a hybrid, this transmission's got 2 electric motors in it, and then we've got an electric water pump and probably an electric AC compressor right here. Okay, that makes it easy. Well, that makes it easy. And we have our filter right there. Now, we have a coolant leak to figure out where the hell it's coming from. And I see coolant right here. I see coolant right there. I just don't know where it's coming from. I also know that this isn't factory, and neither is this one. There's one right here that's not factory, because factory doesn't use worm type close clamps. Okay. Is there anything else up in there that's leaking? Oh. Well, there's even a hose clamp right there. Right here at the end of the light, there's a worm drive hose clamp. This is the water pump. So I'm assuming my leak is going to be right here. So you see at the end of this light, if I can put this light down somewhere. So at the very end of the top of this worm screw right here, at the end of my finger, there's a drip of coolant. So I might just have to order some hoses and replace the hoses. Yeah, you'll see it right there between those 2 screws. You see that green drip. So that's what's leaking. All right. Now that I've done the underbody inspection, Oh, and for those that are probably wondering, so right here is the transmission cable connector to the transmission. This is the recall that gets done. They replace some plastic bushing with something in here. As far as everything else goes, looks pretty straightforward. I don't see too much other issues, but I really want to know why these have hose clamps, because that's not factory, and they've been leaking for quite a while. All kind of staining right here too. Well, let's get topside and start changing our oil out. We got new control arm over here too. So I got 2 new lower control arms. I can't tell if the hub's been replaced, but those bolts don't look brand new. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put some liquid moly in. Liquid moly engine flush. The oil filter that was down below was a CarQuest oil filter. CarQuest is sold by Advanced Auto Parts, and I bought this from a Honda dealership, and the Honda dealership said that they changed the oil. They may have just drained the oil and put new oil in. That I don't know. But given how old this engine is, or this car, I'm gonna put some liquid moly in, idle the engine for 10 minutes, and then drain out the oil and put new oil in. That is the idea. Well, the oil doesn't smell that bad. I mean, it's oil, but it does not smell. It's not milky looking. That bothers me about those worm screws on those hoses for the coolant. All right, directions say well, 1 can, 3.3 to 5 liters of 3.2 to 5.3 quarts of motor oil. This is going to be 5 quarts. More on that in a moment. Before changing the oil. Well, I'm changing the oil now, so I'm going to let this run for 5. We let it idle for 10 to 15 minutes. All right. Why is this not spinning off? We got squeeze tabs in. Oh, it's Eco Belkin proof here. I've never used liquid moly, any of their products, so I'm not sure how this is gonna work, or if it's snake oil in a can. But at $21 a can, I don't think this is something that I would do continuously. Maybe every 3rd oil change, every 4th oil change. We're just going to dump that in there. And then we're going to let this run. Now this is a hybrid, non-energy. So I'm going to turn it on and then turn the heater on to activate the engine. And I'm going to let that run for 10 minutes. All right, let's see if we can't drain this oil. Let's lay on this side. Oh, now this should be a 15. Well, it's a 15 that's loose. I wonder if somebody's been here and replaced this with a different bolt. Probably, because this is not coming undone. I might have to, oh my God, we'll just get out the ratchet and do this. Or not. What the fuck is this thing for? Nothing's connected to it. Okay. Plan B or C. Let's try this again. Are you serious? You're serious, right? All right, let's just try it this way. I don't have anything to really... Well, what the hell? Nope. Well, oh, okay. That required more effort than I wanted to put on there. Still want to know what the hell this is for. Some kind of brace right here. Okay. Now let's not make a mess. Now I just idle my C-Max for 10 minutes with that liquid moly in it. And when you're coming down here to do this, if you're following that, be careful that this oil pan is going to be extremely hot. Whoa. Okay. And the oil that comes out with the liquid moly is probably going to be runny. There we go. Mating surface is nice and clean. Reinsert our bolt. There we go. Nice and snug. Now we do the oil filter right here. All right. Now our filter is right here. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to break this filter loose or not. Judging by how tight that drain bolt was, probably not. So what I'm going to do is put a wrench on it. That's what we're going to do. What we're going to try to do. There we are. Well, that would help if this. You know what? I got a better one. All right. Oh. Oh, there we go. My God, who put this damn thing on here? All right. It's still not. Oh. Okay. That was a struggle. I think now when you loosen this filter, you should have oil coming out of it. Kind of like that. So what I do is let it drain before I pull the filter all the way down. There we go. And while that's draining, I get my new filter ready. Make sure the gasket's not up on there. CarQuest doesn't say when it was done. Now, as for oil filters, there's two options available. The stock option is the FL-910S. And with this filter, your volume of oil is 4.5 quarts. But you can upgrade to an FL-400S. And as you can see, the 400 is a bigger filter. It's taller. And with this, you can increase the oil volume from 4.5 quarts to a 5 quarts even. And I'm going to go and use the FL-400S. Today is the day I don't feel like doing anything. 0326, 140,000 miles. Now I'm going to use, back it up a little bit. I have a little table here. I only bought a jug of 5W20 oil. There is a TSB, or there was a Ford TSB at some point, that you could put 0W20 oil in as well. I had misspoke because officially Ford never wrote a TSB that had said to use 0W20 oil in the C-Max. The confusion probably stems from most parts catalogs and some dealerships would offer the 0W20 oil as an upgrade backwards compatible spec to the stock 5W20. And that was because in colder climates, the 0W20 oil would give the engine better efficiency and protection during its frequent start and stops. If you live in a cold climate, or really cold climate, I guess, I'm going to use the 5W20 and gingerly not make a damn mess. Oop. Whether or not you fill the oil filter is up to you. It's widely debated online that you don't have to, that the newer oils, like this is full synthetic Pennzoil Platinum, there's enough residual oil on the cam lobes, you won't have any issues. But then you have old timers that say with the oil filter empty, it starves the engine of oil for those few seconds while this fills up. So your vehicle, you do with what you want. I've always filled the oil filter and I will continue to do so. I take a little bit of oil and I put it on the gasket. Some do, some don't. That's more of an old timer thing. I guess it also depends on how frequently you change your oil. I do every 5,000 miles. But this being a hybrid, I probably don't have to do every 5,000 miles. Oh, we've got some drippage here. There we go. I'm gonna need a rag to wipe off my hand. There we go, nice and tight. And that's it. Now we go back up top to fill the oil. And one other thing while I'm down here, my engine bay is open, and that's because the air dam, the skirt that gets bolted here and here where my hand's at, and there's one right here. There's one back here, one right here. Yeah, mine fell off in the snow. Well, actually, it didn't fall off. It was dragging in the snow, and I reached under and just ripped the bitch off. So I don't have one. It's in the shed. It's kind of a running trend. I took the air dam diaper thing off of my Expedition, and then here on the Flex behind me, I also took off the lower tray. Must be a common trend. All right, make sure everything is tight. Let me go back up top. I need my light. Not that it matters underneath here. Oh, I'm getting old. Oh. All right, now we just dump the rest of our oil in, take our funnel. I'm gonna go that way. I'm using 5W20 Pennzoil, 5 quarts with the bigger oil filter that I put on. Turn the jug to the side and pour. Good to the last drop. Now I need to figure out how to take off this engine cover because I want to pull a spark plug to see what the condition of the spark plug looks like. I brought an 8 just in case, but it looks like a 10. No, it's not a 10. It's an 8. Well, at least that one's an 8. And this one is also an 8. All right. That looks easy, simple. Still draining oil. You would think, as expensive as oil is, you wouldn't get all of it out of the jug. While that is draining, I'm gonna loosen this hose clamp behind the oil jug here in anticipation of pulling this apart. Hopefully this goes pretty easy. I'm wondering what I'm in for. We'll put a pin on that. Then you go back to this. That's empty. All right. Now I do have to start this up and check the dipstick. But before I do that, I want to remove this intake right here. Is this a 10 or is this an 8? That's not an 8. That's not a 10, that's an 8. I'm hoping. I'm wondering, is this going to be a simple air filter swap and looking at the spark plugs, or is this going to be an all-day end over? Well, how long is this bolt? Am I in or am I out? I don't know. I can't tell. Oh, I'm out, finally. Let's see, we've got a PCV valve, it looks like, right here. And we have a hose, not a hose, but we have a crimp right here as well. So this, oh, what do we got here? Oh, somebody's been here before. Because right here, there's a red tab to pull up on this connector for what I'm assuming is the mass airflow sensor. And then this whole thing, hypothetically, should come up. What the fudge? You know what? I'm just going to unscrew the band clamp right here and get a look at my throttle body as well. Maybe I don't need to. Ow. Okay. Okay. Oh. Well, there we go. Throttle body could use some cleaning. That part's done. Now, this needs to come undone. Okay. But how does it come undone? Okay, Ford, you're making me lose my patience here. Just put that pipe right there real quick. Yeah, that's up. Okay. I don't want to break anything. this comes out. There we go. Now we just tuck you to the side and set you to the side. And then we focus on this wiring harness right here. Pull up. So it's got a red pull tab on it. Push the pull tab, pull the pull tab up and push it in, and then pull the whole connector up. And this, hypothetically, well, that's riveted right here. This has got rivets. So does this have a, that just sits there? Nothing? Okay. Is there anything else that we need to be concerned with? Yes. There looks to be a bolt right there. I'm gonna get a ratchet for that one. This is sure a pain in the ass to do this. Just for an air filter swap? Well, I don't know where we're at with it. I don't think there's any more bolts for this. This side's free. This side is technically free, technically held hostage by this bolt. I picked the wrong ratchet for this. Come on, come on. Why engineering? Why Ford engineering? Okay. Now, this should just come out, I think. I don't know. Because I don't exactly see what it's caught on. I don't think there's anything in the back. Wow, this turned into a giant pain in the ass to do. Okay. Oh my gosh. Wow, that was mildly irritating. What was it caught on in the back? Oh, you just have these little stubs. One right here and right here. Okay. Let's shake this off. I'm not sure. Well, when you shake this, and stuff falls out, that's not a good sign. What is this? An 8. Oh, the bolts look like they're T, maybe a T20, T25 maybe. So if you don't have an 8mm ratcheting wrench, you can just use a Torx bit. Well, the screws are captive. No, they're not captive. They're just screws through the plastic. Literally. What is this filter? There's a filter here, which looks like it's welded into place. And then this is the filter that comes out. Motorcraft filter, made in Mexico. It doesn't say when it was replaced. I'm not sure what that filter's for, but I'm gonna take this to the air compressor. We've got stuff in here. We don't want stuff in there. New filter. Write the date of said filter. I'm using a Wix because it's all that I could find locally without having to wait. I mean, I could probably wait till, if I waited till tomorrow, I could go to the dealer and get Motorcraft, but I went and got wicks. Let me know down below if you folks use wicks products or not. I've heard of them, but I've never used them. Wonder what these bolts are. Looks like a T25. A T25 it is. Now I'm going to do this in a crisscross pattern, but I don't know if there really is a procedure on how to do this. Now the filter is done, I'm going to pull the spark plug out and look at the condition of it, because I think I'm going to need new spark plugs. Considering this is 140,000 miles, and I don't think these have ever been changed. So we have our socket. Well, it came off pretty easy. I believe this is going to be cylinder 2. The boot came out pretty good, and there's some remnants of like dielectric grease possibly. Extension, spark plug socket. We go down in here. Before I do all that, I want to blow this engine bay out. There's some resistance. Well, our spark plug looks to be original. Moco, Ford Moco. AYF S32YR, but the electrode looks pretty short. It's pretty small. That gap between the top of the spark plug and the top of the electrode is pretty big. So that's going to be another project, is to put new spark plugs in. I do believe these have a torque, but I'm just going to hand tighten them and pull out. Oh, you little bitch. Left my socket inside there. And the boot condition looks good. Nothing looks ripped. These look to be original Motorcraft. So we'll just reseat that. Re-plug in our connector. There we go. All right. Now we just reinstall the air filter cleaner. Now, all I gotta do is gingerly figure out, how does this go back together? Because this is not easy. If you rip something, okay, and that just sits on that, and it looks like it just sits down on these little pins, and that's it. The problem is, I don't know if this side is sitting down on it, and it's not. Because that screw is not Well, this is a royal pain to deal with. I'm gonna lose my patience with this. What in the hell? I'm really gonna lose my patience. This is another one of those examples of the finest Ford engineers that we have on this planet. What the fuck? Okay, let's try this again. Oh, what? It's missing one. So there's a little cup right here. There should be one right here, because back here where my hand is at, there's a hole for this. Interesting. Yeah, there's one right here and there's one right here. There's a cup here, but there's a cup missing from here. Okay. And that's kind of what seats everything. We've got some awesome Ford engineers. You're telling me you cannot engineer this to be in another spot? It has to be here on top of the engine? Oh. Okay, so it looks like we have to angle it in, leave the air filter towards you at an angle, and push it in. And then once it's in, well, you're fucked. Because there's really no way of rotating this around to be on anything. I don't know what it's caught on underneath. Yeah, this is a pain in the ass. I might be removing some of those stupid pogo pins so that I can get this to seat right, because now it's jammed on one. Let's try this again going. That's the problem. As soon as you go in, there's nowhere to. You can't lift this up. On anything. Does this come out? Maybe, yeah, these pins back here, as soon as that goes in, you're stuck on those, and it stops it from going any further. Okay, well that was a royal pain in the ass to do, I think, but it needs to come, ouch. It's not sitting on all of them because, there we go. And then this looks like it doesn't have a band clamp at all, it just kind of sits here. Well, that was a bitch. I would hate to have to pay a dealership an exorbitant amount of money to change this air filter. Okay, make sure this gets reconnected. We just put this hose back on. There we go. There we go. We tighten that back down. We tighten that back down. Push our tab down. And then this appears to sit inside this, but the tree is broke, indicating that somebody's been here before. All right. And that is it. The only thing I got left to do is check the dipstick. And I don't know if you're gonna be able to see, but we're right at the hash marks. Now, gotta do the oil reset, and that's it. To the oil light reset, we gotta put the key in the ignition. We're going to go to accessory mode. And then you're gonna push both the brake and the accelerator down at the same time. And then it'll say service oil life in progress. And then it'll say complete. And then you just hit OK. Oil change is done. Vehicle inspection is done. And overall, the body's in good shape, given its condition and its mileage. It's 13 years old. It's 2013. When is the manufacture date on this? What is the manufacture date? Is it on? Nope, not on that side. It is on March 2013. Oh, this is an early build, probably. So, for its age and its mileage, which is currently 140,000 miles, it's actually not in bad shape at all. Even the undercarriage, everything looks pretty good. The rocker panels are still intact. The subframes look okay. The front subframe looks pretty good. A lot of surface rust, but no actual holes, no actual rot. Spark plugs, they're probably original. Gonna add that to the list of them need to be changed. The transmission, I don't have any weird issues with it. I don't have that noise about the transmission bearing. But I did see some wetness, so there's probably a seal that's leaking. Maybe the driver's side, the CV axle seal. And at 140,000 miles, probably could use some new fluid. The front suspension was okay. I don't have any pops, no creaks, no rattles. It tracks straight going down the road. And per the used car dealership, they said they replaced both front wheel bearings per the used car department. Now, those bolts didn't look like they were brand new, so they probably reused the bolts. I'll have to pull the tire and pull the rotor and the caliper and actually look at the hub and see if they actually replaced it or not. Moving to the rear, well, things get interesting. Because it does say they performed a safety inspection per the used car department, and, well, I found this, which would be the source of my clunk. Now, I'm assuming they had this on the lift to do a vehicle inspection. Now, I'm assuming per the safety inspection, per the used car department from the used car dealership, which is actually a Honda dealership, by the way, I'm not sure how that was missed, because all you had to do was remove that plastic piece and you would have seen that the bushing has done left the jack. And that's the driver's side. And if that one, I'm assuming, is original at 140,000 miles, 13 years old, the one here on the passenger side is in the same condition. Also noting is the tires. I have mismatched tires, and you saw on the driver's side there was cracks on the inside sidewall. Now, if this is on the hoist in the dealership's service bay and you're walking under this vehicle, you would have seen the cracks in the tire, and the dealership would have said it's a safety issue and put new tires on. So given the fact that it says they performed a safety inspection check, seems highly suspicious that they probably didn't do it. That being said, given this is my business vehicle, I don't leave town, it is not my daily driver, and I am only going to drive an estimated 8,000 miles a year, I do need new tires, but I don't think it's the priority right now. I want to get the suspension zeroed out, especially in the rear, before I put new tires on. So while it is a concern, at the moment, it's not a high-level concern for me. I'm not worried about a tire blowing out. I don't even drive this on the highway. I mean, it's a hybrid. How fast do you think it really goes? Come on now. On the oil change review, I had used, as you saw, an FL-400S oil filter, which is larger than the stock FL-910S oil filter. This is what is recommended, and if you stick with the stock oil filter, your oil volume is going to be 4.5 quarts. Using the larger oil filter that I use, the FL-400S, your oil capacity goes up to 5 quarts. Now, that being said, the user manual, yes, back in 2013, these did exist. Even my 2018 Expedition has one, and even my 2016 i3, it has one. This does list the oil capacity and the oil filter part number, but it also lists the oil change interval, which I found interesting. For the hybrid, it's a whopping 10,000 miles, and if you have the energy version of this, it's 20,000 miles. I don't know if I could go that long without changing the oil in an engine that is pretty much going to be running every time the vehicle is started. However, using my i3 as an example, the Rex generator, BMW does say change the oil every year. And there are people in the i3 community that change the Rex oil every 2 years. So I guess it's going to depend on how much, or I should say, I guess it's going to depend how much your engine is being used, whether or not you want to go that 10,000 miles or move it up to a shorter distance. Since I have a full 5 quarts, I'll probably do 10,000 mile oil change interval. The Energy has 20,000 miles, and if you stay within the EV range of it, which is like 25, 30 miles, I could see that being a 1 year or every 1.5 years, maybe 2 year oil change. Going back to the i3 example. In the manual as well, it also does state how to do the oil reset light, which I found actually interesting. Rather than having, I don't know, a button on the dash like the Flex to reset the oil, or like the Expedition to reset the oil light, you have to hold the gas pedal and the brake pedal. Okay, I guess it's easier than having to use Beamer Link to reset the oil light for the i3. I don't know. Pick your poison. So with the review done and out of the way, we've covered everything. Yeah. Let me know in the comments Do you use the bigger oil filter like I did, or do you stick with the stock oil filter? How often do you change the oil? Do you push the 10,000 mile boundary or 20,000 mile for the energy, or do you move it up to a slightly more realistic oil change interval like 5,000? Because objectively speaking, this filter is pretty small, and this filter being filtered with oil for 10,000 miles, well, the engine isn't running all 10,000 miles. The argument I had was this filter might not last 10,000 miles, it's only going to last 5,000 miles. But if the engine isn't constantly being ran, I don't know. Let me know in the comments on what your thoughts are. Stick with the high mileage oil, 10,000 miles, or do you move it down to like 5,000, maybe 6,000? And with that, I will see all of you DIY mechanics in the next video. For more content posted this year, click this playlist. For more content about my C-Max, click the FAR playlist. And to subscribe, click the Ford emblem.